Season, try Vicks Sinex nasal spray. Works up to 12 hours. Use only as directed. Don't eat half the jar like I did once as a kid. This was a rough childhood. Mean streets of rural Washington. A lot of great coaches in the NFL. Vince Lombardi, Bill Walsh, Joe Gibbs, Mike Shanahan, Parcells, Jimmy Johnson. This is the longest dynasty, though. 18 years, one team, one guy, Bill Parcells. Rob Ryan said yesterday at Super Bowl in Atlanta, it's just Parcells sees the world differently. Or Belichick, excuse me.
I remember the first Super Bowl year. See if this ended up paying off. I don't know. He's like, look, these guys can't tackle. Get over there and work tackling every day. We're working tackling during the playoffs.
Oh, yeah.
After practice, they're putting their stuff on to tackle. Well, let's think about that. How'd that tackling pay off? Well, let's see. Didn't Antoine Harris force a fumble with a formed tackle on Ricky Prohl right before half? When we kicked him, he scored that touchdown. That worked out pretty good.
I think so.
He can't watch a TV and just see the actual movie. He sees the dials. Hey, we're watching an RCA today. He's got dials. He's got the, it's like, he sees the whole console. I don't see that. I don't have that vision. I don't think anybody does.
I think a big component to this, Bill Parcells and Jimmy Johnson, to me, are the closest thing I think I've probably seen Bill Walsh to this. But Parcells battled sometimes with owners and got restless. It was kind of a control thing. And Jimmy Johnson, similarly, Jerry Jones was a meddler. Joe Gibbs got burned out. Bill Walsh burned out. I think the big component to the dynasty in New England that's not talked about, it's three-pronged. Robert Kraft is a non-meddler, therefore allowing the coach that wants control free reign, and you have a quarterback who is uniquely coachable. This is very much the San Antonio Spurs way. A non-meddling ownership group. Greg Popovich, a guy that likes control, was allowed to have it, and a very coachable, non-confrontational, driven star. I think the Rams have this. Stan Kroenke is not a meddler. Sean McVay, therefore, allowed to run his system unopposed, and a non-confrontational, very coachable star. If you look at what blows up dynasties, there's no reason Shaq and Kobe had 5 more years of prime years. What blew it up? The battle for control. What blew up the Heatles? Pat Riley and LeBron. The battle for control. There's no reason we don't have more of these. I mean, Shaq and Kobe could have won 6 straight. It was all ego. It was all getting control. I'm not blaming any one guy. It was Phil Jackson. It was Shaq. It was Kobe. It was West. It was in Miami. It was Riley. It was LeBron. I'm not blaming anybody. But what New England's doing is they've got the 3 components that really matter in professional sports. A smart, non-meddling owner, a coach who's smart, who generally is kind of a control freak, control maven, and he's allowed, because of the non-meddling owner, to do what he wants to do. And then you get a driven, very coachable, again, somebody amenable to coaching, Tim Duncan, Tom Brady. And that's how it works. And guys mess this stuff up. Guys create dynasties, and guys blow them up. And it's always, always over. Dallas Cowboys with Troy Aikman, they could have won 6 straight. Barry Switzer won a Super Bowl there, a college guy. But we had a smart meddling owner. Jimmy, therefore, who likes to control the football, wasn't allowed to completely control the football. He said, I'm out of here. And then Troy Aikman got caught in the middle of it. And this should happen, I guess what I'm saying is, this should happen more. But you get these billionaires, these sports teams are often toys for them. The owner doesn't get credit in dynasties, but the family, I forget the name, the Holt family down in San Antonio, I think could be the wrong name, but if you go look at dynasties, generally the owner isn't a meddler. The owner
isn't the fact that you're not sure about who the owner is?
Yeah, there you go. R.C. Buford's the GM. I think the Spurs ownership group. We should have way more dynasties.
I don't think it's so much that the owner doesn't have to be visible. You can have a visible owner
that's fine.
who is visibly not involved in the football side of things.
Yeah, Kraft's very visible.
Right.
But he's not, he doesn't have his hand in the personnel.
No, he makes it very clear outside of probably what we all
Yeah, it was Spurs owner Peter Holt.
Right. And what happened with the Jimmy Garoppolo situation is a outlier.
Total out. Yeah, the Holt family. So non-meddling owner, a control freak as a coach, and that's not necessarily bad. Saban's a control freak. Belichick, Parcells, they like their control. They're allowed to do their thing. And then the star player is a coachable, amenable, driven kid, non-confrontational, who wants to get better. I think the Rams are set up for it. Between Kroenke, McVay, and Goff, they've got that three-prong thing that generally, you can win a long time in this league if you get your egos out of it. Joy Taylor with the news.
No. Turn on the news. This is the Herd Line News.
Oh, those pesky egos.
Men are just nothing but. I'm so glad you guys don't have them.
Not at all. All right, so Bill Belichick was asked earlier this week to list the reasons why Aaron Donald is so unblockable for opposing teams. After typical 3 to 5 seconds of awkward silence, he basically narrowed his answer to everything. Well, Patriots center David Andrew elaborated on that. He said he knows exactly what he's looking for. You make a mistake against a guy like that, there's no recovery. You've got to be on your game at all times. You got to be close to perfect. He's got such a great motor. You think you've blocked him, but he's really not. You've got to stay on him. Aaron Donald had 20.5 sacks this year and 41 quarterback hits.
By the way, it should be noted that the two highest-ranking offensive linemen for the Patriots, according to Pro Football Focus, are the center David Andrews and the guard Shaq Mason. So the good news for the Patriots, their two best offensive linemen are interior linemen. It's not their tackles. So that's a break for New England.
Yeah, this high motor thing is often how Aaron Donald is described. With the Rams, it's going to be, as I said, you have to get hands on Tom Brady. So Aaron Donald and Ndamukong Suh having a big game and sorting out whatever's going to happen with Todd Gurley and C.J. Anderson are the biggest factors to me. I don't expect anything. Or I'm not. I guess I should say I'm not concerned about how Jared Goff is going to perform because I think he's a consistent performer.
By the way,
I'm not worried about him having a dud in this game.
He's 14-3 on either neutral fields or the road. Right. Jared Goff will be fine. I think he'll probably throw for more yards than Brady. Goff's not the issue here. In fact, I'm going to give you my top 10 players in the Super Bowl later today. I think Goff's wildly underrated. I think he's a very good football player.
Yeah, I agree. So yesterday, the Oklahoma Board of Regents approved a contract extension and a salary increase for Lincoln Riley. He's now extended through the 2023 season. He makes $6 million per year, which makes him the 9th highest paid coach in college football.
Boy, he's underpaid.
Here's the list of the highest paid coaches.
Let me look at this.
Nick Saban at $8.3 million, Urban Meyer $7.6, Jim Harbaugh $7.5, Jimbo Fisher $7.5.
Dabo Sweeney's a tad underpaid, although $6.5 million goes a long way where Dabo Sweeney lives.
Yeah, I mean, I don't know that underpaid.
You're right.
You know, it's kind of all relative in college football when you think about, you know, I mean, like you said, what's the cost of living
people
there?
Will say Harbaugh is overpaid, and I would say this: remember the money that Michigan generates. That stadium was half empty with Brady Hoke at the end. So anybody that coached Michigan would make $5 million a year. So Harbaugh's making $2.5 million more than any coach they'd have. So the bottom line is he worth $2.5 million a year in attendance and merchandising?
Of course he is.
And
of course we know that the players don't get paid. So we know this is all relative in comparison to that as well. But I don't think he's underpaid. The bigger point of that story to me is that he's not going anywhere anytime soon. Finally, Luke Walton has reportedly been in the hot seat since his team has gone 6-11 without LeBron. They've slipped from 4th place to a tie for 9th in the West and are currently out of the playoff picture. But according to Rick Bucher of Bleacher Report, Jason Kidd is among the potential replacements and even the favorite to succeed Walton if the Lakers make a change.
So, Jason Kidd's been fired.
Here's the sound.
Development that I'm hearing is gaining momentum. Jason Kidd returning to the coaching ranks by succeeding Luke Walton with the Lakers. I know that Kidd wants to coach again. In the case of Jason and the Lakers, now sources are saying that this has gone to the next level and that if the Lakers do make a move on Luke, which based on all of the rumblings could happen sooner rather than later, Kidd appears to be very much in the mix and possibly is even the favorite. If Jason Kidd ends up being the head coach of the Lakers before the end of the season, I would not be surprised.
Wow. Now, I have a question. Do we definitively know? because everybody loves to fire coaches, right? Can you absolutely swear to me that Jason Kidd is better than Luke Walton? Are you at winning percentage? I don't care about that. This is my thing. If you're going to fire Luke, then you would make an obvious upgrade. Brad Stevens, people would say, is a better coach than Luke. Greg Popovich, Rick Carlisle,
None of
Eric
those guys
Spoelstra.
fit with LeBron.
Well, who does?
Look at the guys who LeBron has tried to fire or gotten fired, and look at their replacements. I mean, did you think that Ty Lue was an absolute upgrade from David Blatt? Why? What about? I mean, Ty Lue was good for them in that situation, but I don't think anyone looked at that situation like, of course, Ty Lue, he was the obvious choice that I thought they were going to bring in. No, people weren't saying that.
I get when Notre Dame made a coaching move from, Charlie Weiss to Brian Kelly. Like, Brian Kelly had a history of winning everywhere. He won at Grandview State. He won at Cincinnati. Like, there was absolutely a clear track record resume of this guy's been a very successful college coach. I'm for, if you can get a better coach that I can't even argue with, Notre Dame said, this guy's won everywhere. Then I'm like, okay, by the way, the guy at Vanderbilt went to Penn State, Franklin. I mean, James Franklin won at Vanderbilt. Okay, like, going to Penn State, you're like, okay, that's a real coach. You can't tell me Jason Kidd's better than Luke Walton.
I don't think that Jason Kidd is an upgrade from Luke, an obvious upgrade from Luke Walton, and I don't even think that this is a fit. I don't think that the person, if Luke Walton is to be replaced, which I do not think that they should replace Luke Walton, to be clear, but if they were to replace him, it's going to be somebody that is a fit with LeBron. It's all about LeBron. We talked about this earlier. You sell out for LeBron. So whatever it is that's going to make LeBron comfortable is who's going to be in that position, not necessarily an obvious upgrade on the X's and O's side.
All right. Joy Taylor with the news.
Well, that's the news.